use this model to change your life. The biopsychosocial model. What is it? So we have the biological aspect, which is essentially our physical health and any health conditions we may have. Then we have the psychological aspect, which is our mental and emotional well-being. And then we have the social aspect, which is our relationships and our interactions with others. To make use of this model, we have to understand each section and how we can relate them to our own lives, and the components that make up these sections. We have to look for ways we can improve on these. So we can start with physical health. Let's look at all the things that are going to encompass our physical health and impact any health conditions that we may have. Once we've looked at the components that make up this section, then we can look at how we can improve these different components. The main components of this section will be things that contribute towards your overall health condition. These are going to be the basic things like sleep, amount of exercise and diet, and other things such as hygiene and cleanliness. To use this model to improve our own lives, we have to evaluate each of these components relative to our own lives. To use this model to help us, we have to understand what we're trying to achieve, because what this model is going to explain to us is how all of these factors interlink, how the physical health affects the mental health, and how these things also affect our social health. So getting back to physical health and looking at all the main components, you have to analyze: are you getting enough sleep? Are you doing enough exercise? And are you eating healthily? And are you a hygienic person? Are you taking care of yourself? So let's start with exercise. If you're not exercising at all, that's where you're going wrong, because if you're not exercising, you have no social connections, because areas where you can exercise or hobbies that you take up, you're going to meet other people, which is going to improve your social well-being. You're going to improve your social skills. You're going to build relationships with others. And then there's also the mental aspect of exercise. When you exercise, you release hormones that's going to make you feel good. You're going to improve your fitness levels, improve your appearance, which is also going to make you feel good and going to have a massive effect on your mental health. So number one is make sure you're getting in some form of exercise daily, or at least every other day. Secondly, we can look at diet. If you're eating loads of junk food, loads of unhealthy fried processed food, this is not going to benefit you physically or mentally. Firstly, physically, it's pretty obvious. If you're eating a surplus of unhealthy food, you're going to put on weight. It's going to affect your appearance in a negative way, and you're not going to feel good about yourself, which is how it links into your mental health. If you're eating loads of unhealthy foods, it's going to bring your mood down, just because you're going to feel more sluggish, you're not going to have energy, and then the fact that it's also affected your appearance, it's going to affect your mental health and your self-image. Next is sleep. It may seem very basic, but it's a massive contributor to your overall physical health and mental health. If we're getting the right amount of sleep, we're going to allow our body to recover. Most people are sleep deprived and not letting their bodies get the right amount of rest that they need. And when we don't get the right amount of rest that we need, this is going to impact our mood, lower our energy levels, and bring down our mental health overall. And also, if you're someone that does do exercise, you're not recovering in the correct way, you're not going to be able to have good workouts, and you're not going to benefit much from those workouts. Lastly, I've added hygiene and self-care to physical health. This is because these have a massive effect on your self-image and your overall mental health. If you don't take care of yourself, if you're not hygienic, if you don't do the small, simple things like taking a shower, wearing nice, clean clothes, you're not going to feel good about yourself. You're just going to feel sluggish, and you're going to lose motivation to do things, and this is going to bring your energy down. This can have a knock-on effect to your social health. If you're not taking care of yourself, then you won't really have the motivation to go anywhere. You won't feel presentable, you won't feel like you can interact with other people. And worst case scenario, it leads to you isolating yourself more and more, and then this brings your mental health lower and lower. So looking at the biological aspect of this model, these are the main components that you need to work on and consciously evaluate every so often and see where you're at to make sure that you're gradually improving yourself over time. So that's the biological aspect. Next, we have the psychological aspect of the model. The psychological aspect encompasses our mental and emotional health. The components within this section are things such as stress management, our coping skills, which is our ability to deal with our emotions. It also involves any beliefs or behaviors that we have, and overall is our self-esteem and self-image. So how do these things link to the other aspects of the biopsychosocial model? Firstly, we can look at the attitudes and behaviors that we show. The behaviors that we have, whether they're inherent or learned over time, can have a positive or negative effect on our social well-being. and our relationships and interactions that we have with others. If we display a lot of negative behaviors in our interactions, it's no surprise that our relationships won't be that strong. And if our relationships aren't strong and our social well-being is declining, then this is going to affect our overall health. Then we have components such as our coping skills and our ability to deal with emotion. If we have trouble dealing with our emotions or act impulsively, again, this is going to have a negative effect on our social well-being. If we act on negative emotions that arise all the time and never think logically, this is going to put us in a negative position when it comes to our relationships and interacting with others. We have to learn how to deal with our emotions in a healthy way and understand when it is a good time to display emotion and when it's a bad time to display emotion. Constantly displaying negative emotions all the time is only going to heighten our stress levels, and this is going to have an impact on our physical health as well. Lastly, we have our self-esteem and our self-image. Having low self-esteem is going to negatively impact our social health. We're not going to have the motivation to go and interact with people. We're not going to have the motivation to form strong relationships, and over time this is going to affect our self-image and how we perceive ourselves. Not only that, but if you don't interact with others and you choose to isolate yourself, this can again increase your stress levels and affect your physical health and cause any health condition. So what can we do to improve these components and improve this aspect of the model? In relation to the other aspects, we can improve our mental health by doing things like exercise, taking care of ourselves, make sure we're eating healthily and sleeping well. These are all going to affect our mental health in a positive way and improve our mood and energy levels. We can also improve our mental health by making sure that we're taking care of our social well-being. We're going out, meeting friends, interacting with the people that we care about, and forming strong bonds with others. Doing these things reduces the stress in your life and improves your overall mental well-being. A lot of these things like dealing with emotions, managing your stress, improving your self-esteem and behaviors comes from evaluation of yourself. So what actionable steps can we do to improve these? Things like journaling are good for reflection. We can use journaling to better understand our thoughts and feelings and become more aware of how we behave as an individual. This can be as simple as writing down the thoughts that you had that day, or it can be recalling a scenario which evoked a particular emotion. Then you have things like taking care of yourself and meditation. This is going to help us manage our stress, feel more calm, and have a better perception of ourselves. The next part of the model is the social aspect. This encompasses things such as our personal relationships, our social support and network around us, and also things like our education and financial status. So let's take a look at how these components can affect the other aspects of the model. Let's look at the first component, our social network and the support around us. If we isolate ourselves, this is going to have a negative impact on our health, because naturally as we isolate ourselves and we don't allow ourselves to interact with others, this is going to increase our stress levels. Even if you don't feel it, it can happen subconsciously, because naturally as human beings, and we're social creatures, we need to interact with others and form bonds with people. So looking at the first component of your social network and your social circle, you need to ensure you have the right people around you. So how do you make sure you have the right people around you? First, you need to understand the kind of person you are, then you can understand the kind of people that need to be around you. So again, this links with the psychological aspect. When you have a better understanding of your behaviors and your beliefs and attitudes, then you can surround yourself with people that have similar beliefs and attitudes. By surrounding yourself with similar people, you're going to feel like you have people within your circle that you can trust and look to for guidance or advice. If you've already taken that step of understanding the kind of people you want around you, then it's just a matter of finding them. A lot of people struggle to make new friends and meet new people. You just have to go outside. I know it sounds very simple, but you have to go to the places where you think you'll meet the kind of people that you want to meet. So if you want to improve your physical health and you want to meet people that have similar motivations, maybe you can join a gym, maybe you can join some sort of sports club. And then from there you can form relationships with people and see if their attitudes and beliefs matches yours. Another component is the relationships that we already have with friends and family. Cultivating strong bonds with the people that are close to us has a massive effect on our well-being and overall make us feel good. To cultivate strong bonds, we consciously have to make the effort to spend time with those people. When you make the conscious choice to spend time with someone, that time is a lot more meaningful, and it's the meaningful interactions that allow us to grow closer and form stronger bonds with one another. When we don't have strong bonds or relationships, or we don't really have anyone close to us, that creates a feeling of isolation, which is again going to heighten our stress levels and affect our mental health and even cause some health issues. Even if you're a busy person, it's still massively important to consciously make the effort to spend time with those close to you, so they also know that they have some meaning in your life. Having a strong sense of community is going to improve your social well-being. Things like education level and socioeconomic status can have an effect on this aspect. This is because these things can largely affect our perception of ourselves. So these components we can actively change, or we can work on the psychological aspect and reflect on ourselves and try to improve our self-image. Overall, it's clear to see that all these things are linked: our physical health, our mental health, and our social health. It's important that we look at each of these aspects and look at the components within these sections if we're trying to improve our life. You can start just by focusing on one section, even just one component at a time, and you'll see the knock-on effect that has on the other aspects of your life. That was a brief explanation of the biopsychosocial model. Feel free to go away and do your own research on the model and see how you can put it in the context of your own life to try and improve yourself. That's it for this video. If you found it helpful, share it with someone else that may also find it helpful. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.